Welcome back to the Goku Report. Welcome back for a special new top 10 list. This time around, I am looking at 10 of my personal favorite songs from symphonic metal bands. With that said, I've chosen today musically to go with instrumental gothic melody music. I thought it would go good with the theme of symphonic metal. So, with that said, honorable mentions. Some of these bands you may have heard of, and perhaps some you may not have heard of. Since symphonic metal is a give or take type of subgenre of metal. First up is called There's Dust of Vampire. Hopefully, I get that right. And the song is called Carmilla. It's quite an interesting song. They are sort of a cross between black metal and also theatrical slash obviously symphonic metal, though it depends on the album because each album has progression to different style to their music style. Also on the honorable mention side of things, we have Trip the Darkness by the very beloved symphonic metal band Lacuna Coil, which is a great band. This song, it very much goes more of a metalcore side of things, mixed with elements of classic Lacuna Coil melodies and stuff. If I may talk about them in the future higher up on the list, but finish up the honorable mentions. We also have Going Under from, of course, Evanescence off of the self-titled, rather, the debut album, of course, Fallen, released in 2002. And the last of the honorable mentions, the song is called Through Hell, and it's from a, I think, unfortunately forgotten metal, or rather symphonic metal band that only existed for one album, and that was released in 2009. That is the band We Are the Fallen, which was basically the attempt of more or less Evanescence 2.0 is the best way. Basically Evanescence minus Amy Lee. With that said, going first up at number 10 is a symphonic metal band that is definitely very well known among, I would say, definitely European metal fans, among black metal fans, especially among people who really appreciate classical music, gothic style, atmospheric music you can listen to also when you're in brooding mood or if you want to get hyped up for some. This band has many different tones and styles, but they've been around for over 20 years, so it's no surprise that they've had three lead female vocalists. Coming at number 10 is the band Nightwish with the song called Bye Bye Beautiful. It would be released from arguably probably their best-selling album, Dark Passions, and that would arguably also be from their second lead female vocalist. Now, personally, I think the era of their first lead vocalist, I feel she was hands down the best, but still pretty good. And this song, Bye Bye Beautiful, is a really great song. The music video is really cool too. But Nightwish is a band I recommend for many people. Even if you're not really a metal fan, if you don't like the really hard, heavy metal stuff, you may actually enjoy Nightwish. They have very much a very broad range of styles and unique sounds between all their many albums throughout the years. They are a symphonic metal band that has evolved with time and has experimented with many different styles and sounds. And vocal arrangements, always have great piano music and everything. Coming at number 9 is from the band that would introduce me to symphonic metal, though they're more of, I guess you could say, a cross between symphonic metal slash nu metal. Though I don't really consider nu metal, I consider more symphonic, but I have to give a lot of credit to this band. Coming at number 9 is the song called Good Enough, off of their second studio album, that is Evanescence, from their album Open Door, which personally is my favorite album from Evanescence. It is definitely the most symphonic overall sound and design and lyrically and the piano arrangements are superb on their second studio album. I think it is far superior to the first. Most people always praise Fawn. Fawn is good for specific songs, obviously, like Imaginary and many others. But in my opinion, their second album is their best. Plus, I liked one of their songs. They used composition, piano arrangements, and stuff from actually Beethoven, and I appreciate that very much. But with that said, and they've overall used stuff also from Bach and many others as well as Mozart. But with that said, I absolutely love Evanescence. Amy Lee has a beautiful voice. Coming at number 8, arguably my favorite song off the single album Ban or Evanescence 2.0 We Are the Fallen. Coming at number 8 is arguably my personal favorite song from We Are the Fallen, and that is the song called St. John. Now, in case you may not know, it's about St. John is about a mental institution or mental asylum that called St. John Hospital, located in Ireland. Actually, that's the one thing about the vocalist and members of We Are the Fallen. Background comes from Ireland, so it's quite interesting, really, when you look into the backstory and everything. To the brief time We Are the Fallen was around, they still have, for me personally, one of my favorite albums of all time is their single and only album, which is unfortunate because they had real potential. And though most of the members would end up going back with Amy Lee for Evanescence, obviously, because that's where more of the money was, and success and brand recognition, unfortunately. So, but I enjoyed it and enjoy this music in the background. Right now, we are playing music from Silent Hill. So, with that said, next up, we are looking at a song from a great band that metal or the male vocals a lot of times in the songs use very much black metal slash death metal, very melodic style lyrics and vocal style overall, which really helps add to the atmosphere. And this band is very big on atmospheric, or definitely when it comes to the mood of the music. And they are probably the most literate, most definitely complicated and complex theatrical, or rather, band in this genre known as symphonic metal. That is the band coming in number 7 with their song called Banish Your Illusion. And that is the band Epika, which has pretty much my personal favorite female vocalist in all of symphonic metal. I think she has a beautiful, definitely opera style vocals, just like the first female lead singer of, course, Nightwish. But there's some I just love the consistent quality when it comes to Epica. Yeah, it may sometimes take several years on an album, but I'd rather it be done excellent, really well crafted. That's one thing I love, how much time they actually put into the lyrical content and everything. It's about quality with Epica. And I would say same for many great symphonic bands. Coming at number 6 is from the only band or songs on this list from a symphonic male band that the regular lead singer is actually a male vocalist and not female, which is kind of unusual in symphonic. But this is a great song. It is called Liar Liar. It is by the band called Camelot. Now, fun fact, there is definitely death metal growls and female vocals used in the song because it's featuring the current lead female singer of the band, of course, Arch Enemy, which is probably my number 2, if I would say it's probably my number 2 favorite. If you want to call them either death metal or call them metalcore, I would say I would put them at like number 2 in either of those subgenres for me personally. I've always been a pretty big fan of Arch Enemy. I've liked them a little bit more than OTEP for the most part. But seriously, Camelot's a pretty good band, and I think their storytelling is good. And I think definitely the female vocals from Archenemy really goes good in this song overall. The music video is kind of odd, but it makes more sense when you realize that the whole album was supposed to be done like videos and stuff for an overall arcing story concept. Coming in at number 5 is from the band I talked about already, Lacuna Coil, which has very much evolved over the years. Their first like 2 or 3 records are considered by many critics all-time classics, including probably the main music critic I watch here personally on YouTube, and that is somebody that is a fellow lover of symphonic metal like myself, and that is Mark, or also known as Spectrum Pulse. Check out his channel if you've never checked out Spectrum Pulse. Like me, he has a deep love for symphonic metal, which I appreciate. I definitely disagree with him on many things, involving some bands like Evanescence and others, but whatever. But Lacuna Coil is a great band. They have definitely experimented with metalcore in the mid to late 2010s, but I think overall they've returned to form, and I even like some of their experimental stuff, like I said, Trip the Darkness. But specifically, coming at number 5 is, in my opinion, it was the first song I ever heard from the band. It was the song that really grabbed my attention to check out Lacuna Coil, and it is their song called Our Truth, which was released in the mid 2000s, around like 2005, 2006 range. Coming in at number 4 was the song that originally introduced me to Amy Lee and Evanescence, with a beautiful filmed music video. Some of the stuff, elements may not have aged as well overall quality of the sound, but I think for the most part, the song has aged definitely better than most songs I'm following, in my opinion. But I like the band's version, which ends in more of the metal sound from the softer piano for the most part in the song, with, of course, Amy Lee's beautiful voice. And I love how they filmed the video in black and white, very class. And that is the song My Immortal, which still stands this day as probably my all-time favorite song from Evanescence, though I could toss it up between My Immortal and another song here or there. But it's still arguably one of the best songs, I think. If you want to introduce people to Evanescence, My Immortal is probably the best song. Coming in at number 3 was the second ever symphonic metal band I would ever be introduced to, and that was the band that I still love to this day, called Within Temptation. Now, it's a band I've really gone out of my way to check out. They are a symphonic metal band from Ireland. I originally first heard them from their second studio album, which was more of an Evanescence sounding album, with some great songs like Stand My Ground or Aquarius, though I would then check out their first studio album released in 2000, 21 years ago, hard to believe, with a superb song. It comes in at number 3, and that is the song named after also the title of their first studio album, and that is called Mother Earth, which is obviously about Gaia, spirit of the earth. Very much a very pro-environmental message, very much about respecting Mother Nature, but when you know the background of like members being of more of a pagan descent and viewpoints on things, you really understand these perspectives. Definitely with the music videos, the style, and just a lot of the elements, especially Within Temptation, which I think is still a band that is really relevant and still I would consider one of the flag bearers of great symphonic metal to this day. I have some mixed feelings on their last album, and it was weird they did a song with Toby Shattuck's, of course, lead vocalist from Papa Roach, which was kind of weird off their album Resist. I'm 50-50 with the album, but for the most part, they have had a very solid, very good quality discography, more consistent, I would say, than many other bands outside of maybe Epika. But with that said, coming in at number 2 is, speaking of, from Epika again, coming at number 2 is one of the best songs if you like or love opera style music. This is probably the best introduction opera style, I would say, introduction song to the band Epika off of their, I believe it was their 2009 album, Design Your Universe. And the song is called Unleashed. It was a superb, great song. It would be the second song I would hear off the album. First was more heavy metal side with called, well, forgot briefly second, but Unleashed is superb, and Resigned to Surrender, that's the name of the song, sorry. Gonna quickly cut this up. Coming at number one is probably the most influential and most important band in most people's opinions of symphonic metal, and that is, of course, Nightwish. Comes in at number one with one specific song, with a awesome, by the way, fan-made music video here on YouTube, which uses clips of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core with Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and also clips from other stuff. But superb, goes together with the flow very well. It is a great opera-style metal song. It is called She Is My Sin. Great song, I do highly recommend checking out. Quickly before I cut this up, quickly share, recently came across two great deals on some recent vinyl pickups. First is a bit more on the jazz and blues side of things, if you're a big fan you may appreciate. And that is a collection of some of the greatest hits from, of course, the classic man himself, Frank Sinatra. Fun fact, I'm actually a pretty big fan of jazz music. From definitely, I would say, anywhere stretching from like the 20s to probably the 60s. I really appreciate big band and classic jazz music. From time to time, you can't beat some classic Frank. But on the more metal side of things, the other pickup, which is some I've been wanting to get, finally found, and that is finally have Metallica's Ride the Lightning, which of course is my second favorite Metallica album of all time, as I've already said, in my ranking of best to worst Metallica songs. But with that said, I'll see everyone next time. Stay safe. As always, this is, of course, the Goku Report. Hopefully you enjoy this, or take some suggestions and check some of these songs out and some of these bands. I would say, out of these, the top three I would most recommend check out if you've never heard any music from. I recommend Epika, Within Temptation, and I would say the other one I would recommend the most would probably be Nightwish. Though I'd recommend looking for more of the 2000s work from Nightwish. With, I would say with Epika, check out their most recent work. Album that was released last year, actually. Really good work. And with Within Temptation, I personally highly recommend their, I believe it was their 2012 studio album called The Unforgiven, was a concept album based on like stuff from like comic books and things. I actually do recommend highly checking that album out. It probably has their highest highs of their overall career, in my opinion. But if you want to check out some classic stuff from the 2000s, check out their 2000 album, Mother Earth. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time, and stay safe, and hopefully you enjoyed the music in the background.